Hi, welcome to Maggie Chats Books. Today I'm going to do my 5-star books of 2017. These are books that made it to the end of the year still as 5 stars. Sometimes I rate a book 5 stars, think about it for a while, and then change it to 4 or vice versa. But now at the end of the year I have 12 that are 5-star, and I'll share those with you now. There are, as I said, 12 books. 6 of them were written by men and 6 were written by women, so I thought that was a fair division. All the authors were new to me this year. I had not read any of their other works. There are 2 science fiction, 2 science fiction fantasy, 1 manga, 1 historical fiction, 1 historical nonfiction, 1 nonfiction book, and 4 fiction books. So that's the breakdown. So I'll start with the sci-fi category first. The first one is John Scalzi's Locke. This pretty much hit all the buttons for me on a good sci-fi. It had good science behind it. It was a believable story for what it is, and I really enjoyed it. It is about a new technology which allows people who have been overcome by disease, which pretty much paralyzes their body, to use a robot type person, and they control them with their mind, and they walk around the world and experience the world through this robot. The story is about a FBI agent who is in that robot type body, and he investigates a murder. I thought it was a good story. It was a mystery, a sci-fi. Like I said, it hit all the buttons. Really enjoyed it. It was my first book by John Scalzi. I've since started the Old Man's War series, which I think there's like 10 books in it, but this one was a 5-star for me. And the next science fiction 5-star book is one that I've talked about a lot on this channel, and this is Weir's The Martian. If you've seen the movie, you know what it's about. A guy, astronaut, gets trapped on Mars and they have to rescue him. I really enjoyed this book, found it very entertaining. It was 5 stars for me. The next 2 books are written by a female. They're by the same female, and it's a series, and this is Binti and Binti Home by Nnedi Okorafor. And this is a sci-fi fantasy series of a young woman who is sent to or is accepted by a college in space someplace. She leaves an African type village, and they are a group of people that don't usually leave their hometown or their home area. They have very strong family values. They are very connected to the earth. She still is that way when she goes to college, and then she comes back home. These are just unusual books. They're very quick reads. I really enjoyed them and looking forward to the next book in this series. The next book is a new genre as well as a new author for me, and this is a manga book, and it's My Brother's Husband by Gengoroh Tagame, and I'm probably saying that name wrong. I'll put it on the screen so you can see what it really looks like. But this was a manga book. It was my first one that I've read. It is about a Canadian man who goes to Japan to meet his husband's brother. His husband has since died. He wants to connect with the family. His brother-in-law has a daughter that is a very loving child, and she's like a normal child, just is so excited that she has an uncle. And you see the relationship between the husband and the brother, and the child and the husband and brother, and it's just really, really a good story. I believe there's a second book that's already out in Japanese, but it hasn't been translated to English yet, so I'm hoping that comes out next year, and I'd like to continue reading that one. The graphics inside are really, really nice. It's all black and white, but I just think they did a wonderful job, and it's a really quick read, although it's kind of a hefty looking book, but it's a quick read. And then to the historical fiction books, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, and this one I think won the Pulitzer Prize for 2016. It takes place in World War II in France and also in Germany, and really shows the impact to war for children and people living amongst war. And I think that kind of thing has been done before for adults, but not so much for focusing mostly on children. I thought it was very, very good. The book is so intriguing, and it definitely deserved the Pulitzer Prize from my opinion anyway. Hi, I'm inserting this clip about 4 hours after I filmed my 5-star video because I realized I didn't have the book that is my historical nonfiction book Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This book takes place in Oklahoma in the early 1900s. It is about the Osage Native Americans. They were given land in Oklahoma that was very rocky and not very good after they were relocated to what was Indian Territory at the time. The land was, as I said, pretty bad. They were told to farm and were taught to farm and all this, and it didn't work out very well. But then oil was discovered on the land. The rights to that oil were in the hands of the Osage, and many Osage were killed to get the land rights to drill for oil. This was also the beginning of the FBI in the United States, and it's the investigation into those murders and how so much of it was covered up. I really thought this book was great. It was very informative. It moved along very quickly. It gave me part of the history of the state that I'm from that I never learned in Oklahoma history, and I thought it was a very important book. So that's my historical nonfiction book, and now back to my other film that I did before. And the next book is a nonfiction book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, We Should All Be Feminists. This is really a written version of a speech she gave. It is one of the best speeches I've heard, and you can watch it on YouTube if you want to, that deals with feminists and what it means to be a feminist and how people should deal with each other regardless of sex and gender. And it just, to me, it was such a good book speech, and I really enjoyed it. I think this should be required reading for everyone. I just thought it was marvelous. And next are my 4 fiction books, and the first one was by Sarah Crossan called One. It is a book written in prose about twins who are conjoined. They are teenagers and starting high school. They have been previously homeschooled. It tells about how they deal with that and other issues that they encounter. It is a beautiful story. I love how she writes. I read another book by her, The Weight of Water. I just think Sarah Crossan has a gorgeous writing style and really enjoyed the prose in this one. It was my first book by her. I recommend this one. The next one was A Man Called Uwe, and I think this is a 5-star book for a lot of people, and this is by Frederick Buckman. It is the story of an old man who's very set in his ways. He's very grumpy, and then a family moves in next door to him and really changes his life and changes their life as well. Beautiful, beautiful story. I really, really enjoyed this one. I know he has another book out this year that has gotten a lot of good reviews, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it down below when I think of it. And I want to read that one as well, but this one is such a good book, and I think a lot of people found this to be one of their favorite books of the year as well. The next book is Tin Men by Sarah Winman. I heard about this book on Lauren from Lauren in the Books channel. I'll link her channel below. It is the story of 2 men and a woman. The men have had a previous relationship. The man and woman get married, and it's that pretty much delves into the relationship and how it changes each other's lives. It is so well written. I just think she has a beautiful writing style. You read the book very, very quickly. You get so involved in their lives, and you want the best for everything and everyone. And it is really a good book. I don't want to say too much more about it because I think it would spoil it. But if you get a chance to read this book, I thought it was wonderful. And the last one is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. Probably saying that wrong as well. This book was one that I said when a lot of people were talking about it, I would never read it because it just seemed like something I would not want. The man and a woman live in Africa. The couple has not had a child yet. They feel like his family feels like he should take a wife. Another wife so that they could have a child. He does so, but this book has so many twists and turns, and it's just so gripping, and I love the characters in here and just thought this was a wonderful book. I know a lot of people have discussed this before, and I think it just came out in the United States probably about a month or 2 ago. I did get this from Book Depository, so I got to read it early because it was out in England. Really, really great book, and another 5-star. So those are my 5 stars for 2017. Please let me know what your 5 stars are, or if any of these books happen to be in your 5-star list for this year. That is all for now. I will talk to you later. Goodbye.